how that came to pass.
Yeah, hi. I'm glad to be here. I was born in Iran, as you know, and raised in Iran. In actually in a not religious family. My dad's side and my mom's side, they weren't very religious, but of course in schools and everywhere we were confronted with Islam. So at the age of 10, 11, I wanted to know, like my whole life I was looking for something. I was seeking the God they always talk about. And I was talking to him, but I didn't know how to meet him. So I, as the first one in my family, I started to like study more about Islam. And at the age of 12, 13, I started to pray 5 times a day, like have the hijab in front of everybody, like my cousins, the family, friends, everyone. They made fun of me, they laughed at me, and I was like, it's okay, it's my God, and I'm proud to be a Muslim, and I'm gonna continue my path. So that was my, at that time, that was my identity, and I had friends which, like believers, and we talked about it a lot. We were teenagers at school, and everyone else was looking for parties, underground parties and everything in Iran. So, but we just prayed every day, fasted, everything like that. But something in me always felt empty. I was very strong-willed, so as I started to be a Muslim, my mom started to do the same thing after me. I wanted to be with God. I wanted to hear Him. I wanted to be a good Muslim. But I never felt any love, so from God. And maybe I should say this part. I grew up with a dad who wasn't very loving. He was a driver. So how do you say that? Like, I don't know. Anyways, he was not very loving. He was very aggressive, very strict, and anyways, I loved him. He was my dad. I loved him, but he was always very aggressive, very, yeah. I was 18. My parents decided to leave Iran, and I left with my dad and my brother, and my mom was with my younger brother in Iran. So we couldn't live together because yeah, it was impossible. So I was with my dad. I didn't have any good relationship to him, and at that time I had a very close relationship to my mom. So it was I didn't want to leave, but I didn't have any choice. I had to leave with my dad and with my brother, and we left Iran to Germany. So that was like a big break in me and in my life. In Germany, it's a little bit different. We were there as refugees, and we had to stay in a big camp. So there was a girl, an Iranian girl, who was a little bit older than me, and she was Christian. And I was like, why would you do that? You are going to come to hell. Why would you do that? And she was like, no, you just don't know about Jesus. You have to read the book. You have to. And I was like, no, thanks. I'm a proud Muslim, and I'm going to stay as a Muslim. So she gave me the New Testament in Farsi. And I was like, okay, whatever. I'm not going to read it, but I don't want you to be sad, so that's a gift, it's okay, I'm gonna take it. So we left this camp to another one. I shared a room with my dad and my brother, like a very little room. That was bad conditions. And we were not allowed to work, we were not allowed to go to school, we were not allowed to do anything. And that was a very little city in Germany, and I didn't have any friends. I couldn't speak the language, so I was very lonely. One night I was in my bed, super sad. I was missing my mom. I can remember this moment. That was just, everything was so dark. I couldn't see any light. I couldn't see any hope. I was sitting in my bed. And actually I like books. I like reading books, but I didn't have any books in Farsi, except the Bible, New Testament. So I grabbed the Bible, I just read through it, and I didn't understand anything. That was just a history of Jesus for me, like something, I didn't understand it. Then I don't understand it, I don't know what to do. I closed the book, and I was crying so hard. My dad and my brother, they were sleeping, and I was crying, and I didn't know what to do, where to go, how to come out of this situation. Suddenly, I was out of my body, I could see myself, and I saw how he took me out of my bed, put me on a mountain. I was looking, that was like on a mountain, I couldn't see anything else, just him. And he hugged me and told me, "Do not fear, you are mine." I didn't know these words. I never ever somebody told me such a word. So I was just so in peace. After a long, long time, I felt in peace and I felt loved. I had an encounter with the Father. I know that today, but I didn't know that at that time. I just knew it's amazing. It's such a big thing. I have never felt such a big love. It just brought me in peace with myself and with this situation. The situation didn't change. I was in the same bed. But something changed in me. Something was changed. And anyways, I went to sleep, and the next day somebody knocked on the door. It was a Persian guy. We didn't know he exists in the city because that was just a German city. But he was there with his family. He heard about us, and he came to us to see if we need something. So he came, knocked on the door. We opened the door, and he is asking me, "Do you want to go to a church?" To church. He's like, "Yeah, there is a church here with lots of young people, and they are really good. So you don't need to be you don't need to convert. Just go there, just see if they can help you. So you can find friends." And so I went there, I saw them, and I was like, something is, wow, something. I feel something. I don't know what that is, but it's something very special. So I kept going to the church, and my dad, he wasn't very pleased with that. So because he didn't let me go out at that point, he was just, "No, you are not going to church." And I was like, "No, I want to go to this church." thinking, what can I do? Then I had an idea.
Mm-hmm.
I told him, look, we are refugees here and we need this status. If we go to the church, we can tell them we are Christians and we cannot go back to Iran. So we can get the papers done. And he's like, oh wow, yeah, that's a good idea, let's go. So I had opened the door through this idea, and he came with me to the church, and after a year, I think that was a year, he was telling me, I see something in these people. If they are human beings, what are we? They love us so deeply. They should be angels. Anyways, then he started to read the Bible, and he gave his life to Jesus. I can tell you, after that, he changed a lot, with ups and downs, of course, but he changed a lot. The church helped us to bring my mom to Germany and my brother. So my mom gave her life to Jesus, and yeah, I can tell you this. Just I was thinking like yesterday and today about the whole thing, and I was like, well, I have tasted the goodness of the Lord. I'm sitting here, and I know there are so many people who need this love, need this, more than the love, it's this peace. Like you go through ups and downs in your life, and you know the King of the King is with you. He's going with you through every situation. So, yeah, I have tasted his goodness through every single day in my life.
Yeah, just being around you, Elmira, and just seeing you walk in such peace and such grace, it's just wonderful to hear your testimony, and it's just verified just by the way you live, the way you walk, and the way you carry yourself and interact with other people. I just thank you for coming here to Texas, all the way from Germany, and sharing your testimony. And just realize, as listeners, as people watching this, how to pray for people, how to love people from a different background, Islamic background in this case, but so many people are loved into the kingdom, and they need to have that love modeled out in the church, as you saw there in Germany. Thank you for coming. Thank you, listeners, for watching Attention Central Texas. Look forward to